I have with me Dr. Sonia. She's a professor with in computer science department in Shoolini University. Has a vast experience of 16 years working as a professor in Delhi University and in Shoolini University. She has a PhD again in network security, cyber security from Delhi University. So she'll be here today taking this session. She has taken sessions earlier. The people who want to join and who want to see her sessions previously can visit our YouTube profile as well, wherein you can see previous sessions which Dr. Sonia has taken. And I would humbly request everyone, you guys can type down because many of you guys are going to be having questions. So you guys can write down the questions simultaneously whenever you feel like on the question and Q&A box, and also on chat box itself. Once Dr. Sonia has completed her presentation, her webinar, she would take out all those answers, and we'll try to answer one by one. So with that, Dr. Sonia, please continue. It's all yours. Thank you, Dr. Sonia.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another fascinating session of cybersecurity. Now, today we will talk about network security, and we will cover some necessity of network security, what exactly network security is, how security is there in application, transport, and network layer, then business analysis of network security, and last about the job and career perspectives of the network security. So now we will move on and let's start the session for today. So guys, in this modern era, corporations heavily rely on computer networks to communicate information efficiently and effectively throughout the organizations. Assuming that every employee has a dedicated workstation, organizational computer networks are now becoming a large and new vectors. We can say a large corporation would have several thousand workstations and numerous servers on the network. And it is likely that neither parameter protection and nor central management would be present for this workstation. So we can say that such an unprotected network becomes the target for an attack, and it can contain several vulnerabilities. Now they have a variety of operating systems, hardware, software, protocols with different level of cyber awareness among the users. Now we can next comes that what exactly is network security. Now, security consists of rules and regulations adopted to prevent and monitor unauthorized access, misuse, modifications, denial of computer network, and some kind of computer accessible resources. The only defense against Trojan horses and some malwares is our network security. So in short, we can say network security is an activity designed to protect the usability and integrity of your network and data. It can include both hardware and software technologies. And we can say that effective network security manages access to the network, or it can target a variety of threats, stops them from entering or spreading on your network. Now, next, let's see how this network security arose. In the beginning, TCP/IP protocol, there are two models that are OSI and TCP/IP. In the beginning, TCP/IP protocol emerged as a significant protocol used for communication in computer networks. It was delivered primarily as an internet working solution with little thought on we can say given to the security issues. It was created to facilitate our communication within a small network. But now, as the companies keeps on growing. With time, this protocol becomes the norm for communications across the unprotected internet. Now we can discuss about some of the protocols or vulnerabilities of TCP/IP. At first, there is HTTP, which is an application layer protocol, and in TCP/IP, it is used by web server to transfer files that make up web pages. These transfers are carried out in plain text, which makes it very simple from outsider to read data packets sent across between the server and the client. Now next comes a weak authentication between the client and the server. A weak authentication between them, the client and web server, during the beginning of the session is another, we can say, HTTP vulnerability, and this flaw could lead to or result into session hijacking attack, in which the attacker steals the genuine information users HTTP session. And thirdly, there is a three-way handshake used to establish connections in a flaw in the TCP/IP protocol. This vulnerability can be exploited by an attacker using SYN flooding, denial of service attack, and many more. It can create, we can say, a lot of open section, half open sessions. That means sessions which are not completed. By not concluding the handshake, and it can cause server overload, and eventually it can put us into a crash. Then the fourth weaknesses is that of IP layer, which itself is prone to several flaws. An attacker can conduct an IP spoofing assault through the modification of IP protocol header. It can seriously harm our company. Now, in addition to entire list of vulnerabilities that we have discussed, there is TCP/IP protocol family, which has more vulnerabilities or more security flaws are there. In TCP/IP network communication, incidentally, we can say if one layer is compromised, the remaining layers are unaware of it, and the entire conversation is put at your risk. Therefore, it is necessary to use security controls at each layer to provide perfect security. The security of a computer at each communication add is simply one aspect of network security nowadays. However, the goal is to safeguard the entire network. Effective network security deals with preserving the network's usefulness, dependability, integrity, and moreover, safety. The main objectives of network security, which now prevents a variety of dangers from entering or propagating into a network, are confidentiality, integrity, availability, and that results into the CI triad model, which are the main, CI is the main pillar for the network security. Among this, the confidentiality, as you can see, is the main component of network security, and that can ensure data which is only accessible to those who are intended or who are the authorized users. Then comes the next one, that is integrity, in which the preservation and assurance of data accuracy and consistency comes. It can serve the purpose of ensuring, as you can see over here, that it is fulfilling. When the attack is there, the integrity has been lost and data is trustworthy. That is the main issue that should be considered in it, and it should not be altered by the unauthorized parties. Then comes our third issue, that is loss of availability, or we can say that third criteria that for the network security we should is the availability. In this, it is to guarantee that data network and these resources are always accessible to authorized user wherever and whenever they need it. Now, maintaining, as we all can see, that maintaining network security seems to be quite easy, but when we employ certain methods or we want to maintain it, it becomes complicated, and we can say that it is a bit tricky thing. So to bring out uniformity in network security techniques, ITU, that is, we can say International Telecommunication Union, developed certain protocols. In this, first one is your encipherment. As you can see, this is the mechanism which provides data confidentiality services by transforming data into non-readable forms for the unauthorized person. And this mechanism uses encryption and decryption algorithms with certain keys that are secret in nature. Then comes the digital signature, which is the mechanism in which the electronic equivalent of ordinary signatures has been put, and that is in the electronic form that I have told you, that electronic equivalent, and it provides the authenticity of the data. Then now the third comes is access control, which is the mechanism in which control services are there. And before an entity interacts with anything on the network, these methods may utilize identification and authentication of an entity to determine and enforce the access rights of the entity. Now we can say this numerous security mechanisms are there and created for accomplishing network security, but it is crucial for those who apply them physically at particular layer that we can say TCP or OSI, sorry. So in this time, we can discuss about the application layer architecture, which is the first layer of today's session, which we are going to discuss. In this, the email app web applications are two most often used formats, and while accessing the service from the server application, the client server exchanges the information on the internet and both uses and communicates with each other using the chosen server obtained service. Now we are aware that these information transactions are vulnerable to various attacks, and network security now protects data from threats while it is being transferred across the network. Now numerous real-time security mechanisms have been developed nowadays. Among them, we can list some of them, and we can say that before discussing on a subject, they must engage into some interactive negotiations, authenticate one another, and establish a particular secret connection. Now we can say that firstly the parties, that means the users which are involved in this negotiation, interactively authenticate each other, and secondly they can create a secret session key before exchanging information, and at last they have to exchange information that must be interactive and encrypted in the form to follow certain levels of protocols. Now we come to the next, that is the main motto of application layer, and that is the main base of client server architecture in which the email security works. At this layer, we can say that email is the simplest way of sending messages directly from the sender's machine to the recipient machine. In this case, it is essential for both the machines to be running on the network simultaneously. However, this setup is impractical in what sense that as users can occasionally connect to their machines, and mostly what happens, the one will send the information and another one will read it afterwards, but they are not connected to the server at the same moment. So now, seeing this need and the growing use of email communication, there comes a demand in which the confidentiality, or we can say the security of the email has been seen. So for seeing the security of the email, there are certain criteria like confidentiality, in which email should be read by intended recipient only. Then comes authentication, in which email recipient should be sure of identity of the sender. Then integrity, where email recipient should be sure of identity of the sender. And then comes proof of delivery, where sender gets a confirmation that recipient received message. Non-repetition, in which sender gets a confirmation that the recipient tries to receive the message, and that is a particular authentic message, and no one other reveals their identity. Then comes the proof of summation, that confirms that message has been submitting to the mailing server. Now, there are certain security services for privacy authentication that comes with message integrity and non-repetition that are mostly required and provided by PGP using certain key algorithms. Now, this looks very good, and it starts with the algorithm, as we can see in the figure from the raw file. Here, an encryption algorithm will work. Maybe it may be MD5, or mostly use. We will mostly use MD5. Then the resultant over here, the resultant bit 128-bit hashed data is signed using the private key of the sender. And this signing will be done mostly by the RSA algorithm. After that, signed and encrypted file has been concatenated with symmetric key and then finally sent on the server. At the receiver ends, this will be taken in the vice versa way. And what happens at the end, signed and encrypted file has been received by the receiver. Then it has been decrypted the file using certain private key, and then signature has been verified with some public key, and finally the receiving side will get the final output, or we can say the mail actual file or actual message that has been sent. Now, what is the need for this network security? We can say why we need this network level security. For this, now we consider a transport layer, because these kind of issues comes under the transport layer. For this, we will just take an example. Now, suppose we are placing an order, online order, okay, and that may be from Amazon, Shopify, Flipkart, or whatever it is. Here, first you will enter into the name of the item. What will you do for that order? You will add the name of the item or search the item, then quantity of the item, and then you reach to the payment gateway. Enter your credit or debit card details, and finally you click submit and wait to see that whether all the things has been processed properly, your order has been confirmed, and what amount has been deducted from your account. Now, during this, if network security is there, then it's okay. Otherwise, if you are doing it without the network security, then you can face certain problems. Like if the transaction is indulged into an confidentiality attack, an attacker could get your card details and he can misuse your information, your card information in one or the other way. Then comes if there is another thing, that is loss of data integrity issue comes in that case. Someone can modify your order or modify your quantity, item or quantity, whatever it is. Now, the last thing, that is confidentiality, integrity, and then authentication. And if there arises an issue of authentication, then a server could display the website you want, and if some attacker has attacked on that time, then he can take your authentication, make that website with the same name. Like if you are opening the Amazon, then that another website has been opened and you are placing order on that, and then the payment on that. So these kind of attacks may happen, and these comes under the masquerading attack, identified theft attack, and many more comes under this. So these are certain issues at the network level security. Now we comes to the transport layer security, which can consider certain TCP/IP based network communication, and in this also the confidentiality, data integrity, and authentication, maybe from the server side or the client side, becomes the main issue. So security at network layer mainly used to secure HTTP based web transaction on a network, and this has been managed by SSL protocol. Basically, what is SSL protocol? It is a standard security protocol for establishing encrypted links between a web server and a browser in a communication. The main usage of SSL technology ensures that all data submitted between the web server and the browser remains encrypted. These are some salient features, or these are some features that are included in SSL. That is, SSL always provide the CIA integrity. Then SSL is available for all TCP applications. It can be supported by almost all web browsers, and it can provide simplicity in business when we are using online entities, like we have discussed in the previous example. Now there comes how the SSL works. SSL works basically using two functions, that are encryption, and second one is your identification. In the case of encryption, now suppose we are considering an example. We are transferring a bank account number on our network, and if we are using SSL, that is secure, you have seen, all of you have seen that HTTP is there on your address bar, and if that is HTTPS, that is your secured, that is SSL has been embedded on the website. So if we are considering that we are transferring a bank account number on the website and SSL is there, then your message has been first encrypted and then transferred. And second comes the identification. Identification transference has been done, but how it is identified that this message is real or authentic? So there are SSL certifications which are attached. They are small data files, we can say, and that are digitally attached using certain cryptographic key to the organization, and it can be installed on any of the web server which requires to create the certificate. Basically, what is happening in this? It activates the padlock and HTTPS protocol and allows secure connection from a web server to a browser. Mainly now, in the previous era or previous century, mainly it has been used just for the credit card transactions and certain login transfers. And nowadays it has been used in all the sites, and mostly in the online order or payment sites wherever we require it. And we can say that nowadays we always search for HTTPS on our address bar, otherwise we will not access that websites. Now the next aspect of network security layer comes with the IPsec. This is the framework that has been included with IPv4 or IPv6. It is mainly used to protect the IP packets. And in this, there are two types that are first, two parts they consist of. First one is IPsec communication, which includes encryption, communication manager, and communication which is not involved in the creation of keys. Then the second part of this consists of internet key exchange, which is the automatic key management protocol used for IPsec. In this, the communication manager is there and communication is not involved in the creation of key. Now we will see how this IPsec will work. Basically, what is this doing? It is computing, and what is it is doing at first, when computers realize that they need to share data all amongst themselves, they ask themselves Just one question, which is there, and whether the IPsec is being used by them for sending and receiving the data or not. And if answer replies from the receiver side that yes, sender has sent the data, and ask that whether you are using the IPsec, then from the receiver side they said yes, and then a security negotiation establishment has been created. Matlab, we can say that security negotiation will take place. What is happening in this security negotiation? What they will share the encryption and decryption algorithm with each other, and after that they start sending and receiving data along the two sides. So this is way in this way IPsec will work, and there is certain protocols on which these algorithms and this security negotiation will move on. Then we comes to the benefits of network security in business. There are certain benefits, or we can say all of the business are nowadays dependent on the network security. We can say that in this there is resource sharing, in which a business can reduce the amount of money spent on hardware by sharing the components among the peripherals connected to, or among the components that are connected to the network. Then to streamline the business process, also there is a need of network security, which can say or enable businesses to streamline their internal business processes. Then there comes the collaboration amongst the departments. When two or more departments of business connect together on the selected portion of their networks, they can streamline their business processes. Then comes your improved customer relations, in which we can say that when two or more departments of business connect selected portions of their networks, they can streamline their business processes. Now, after getting all the details, or you can say I can't tell you all about network security because it is a very vast topic, but after getting a basic understanding of network security, we will now see some real-time network scanning of the network security, and it is using certain networking tools. I have already pasted the screenshots for you, in which the first networking tool is your WhatsApp web, or we can say what web. You all are using WhatsApp, so it's not WhatsApp, it's what web, and it can identify website. The main goal or primary goal of this tool is to say that on which website we are working, and it can address certain issues, and it can give us certain information, like it can give you the web address, domains on which we are working, IP addressing. Like you can see over here, I have used web with shooliniuniversity.com, and I can get which are on which web addresses it's working. Now on which domains, then title of the university, and how many IP addresses on which are currently they are using, and many more things can comes over here. Then comes the next networking tool, that is the harvester, in which is also a Linux-based tool and used to collect information regarding mails and host on the web address on a particular source. So what actually this harvester is doing, it is a CLI-based Linux tool, and it is getting the information like for the mails, which particular emails are active. Like I have pasted this screenshot for this also, in which we can say these emails are active at the particular moment, and these are the hosts which are found when we have used the harvester on the Shoolini University host. Then comes your next one networking tool, that is Sherlock. This is a tool which is used to gather the information related to assigned username. Like I have assigned over here the username, and what is happening? It is happening like I have added a name over here, username, and it is giving that on which tools they are working and on which tool this username is active. So we can see that which tools or which particular apps particular person is using. Like they are giving their details of Facebook, Fancentro is active on too many apps or platforms. Then comes Red Hawk. Red Hawk is very important tool for networking, and it is basically used as a vulnerability scanner. Vulnerability is there in each and every stage of network, and it can be used for finding the IP addresses of the target. Basically, it is used to look for the error-based XML injections, and it can be used to find the sensitive files. So in the case of Red Hawk, we can see that there are mainly these type of vulnerabilities. The name of the vulnerabilities arise over here. Now we comes to the prerequisites. That means what are the requirements when we are using the network security. So there are some basic requirements like we must learn about the Linux, some programming, and very essential thing is that computer network, you are well versed with the computer network. Then there is eligibility or placements. So mainly they will give preference when a person has CEH certification, SEN certification, OSCP certification, or in the placements, if a student has done BTech, BC or BSc in with the area of cyber security or network security specialization they have done, then they will get the preference in this area. Now, what is the opportunity? We must see that if we are going for a course, then whether that we are successful afterwards or not. So there are many network security jobs. Among them, there is network security analyst, in which the main task is for scanning the network for the vulnerabilities. They keeps on analyzing the network and find the security issues and vulnerabilities over there. This is very highly paid job, and you will get the fun while doing it, because you will learn many new things and many exciting things when you will working as a network security analyst or even the engineer. And what the purpose of network security engineer? He will build out the security systems. Like for a company, if security is to be maintained, then he will make system for that. And others are there that are network security administrator, ethical hacking also involved in this, because if network security has to be tested, then we must require some ethical hackers. Then comes your chief network security officer. When comes to the salary prospects for that, the starting salary for this is up to 8 lakhs per annum, and then within 3 to 5 years that come to the 10 to 15 lakh per annum, and after 20 years, after 8+ years, you will get more than 20 lakh per annum, and these are many things. So now we comes to the questions.